We're good, Tom.
Yeah, I'd like to call the meeting to order. Approve the previous minutes.
Make a motion to approve the minutes. I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it.
Guess we don't need the other two, huh?
What is it? More than one copy?
Signature.
Needs to be multiple pages.
I'm just leaving here until you do the rest or.
Right. Yeah.
Park.
Just want to update you. I sent you guys an email a couple weeks ago with the straight line wind damage. It caused chaos down there. I think we had met a couple days before that, and just the pictures, just kind of saying we got it cleaned up. It took a while because Duke Energy had to cut the lines down by the tree. You can't really touch them unless you're some type of certification to be able to touch live wires. Then we waited. Luckily, there was a lot of chaos going around. So tree guys were all around here. So we happened to see one that next morning, and they cut down some trees before for us. So we had asked them, we know you're busy, but like our park is tore up and we want to make sure that it's safe so people didn't go down there and get hurt. And you can see from that tree, that massive tree ended up smashing the swing set. The swing set is now to a place where we took all the stuff down, so it's not hanging or anything. We roped it off so people can't use it. And we made a claim with the insurance, so they will reimburse us for the cost of the damage. We're just waiting for the playground installer to give us a timeline of when can it be submitted or done by them. I know it's probably busy because they probably have projects on deck. So hopefully through the next couple months they get out there. But we did get EMC. They're a little slow to respond. We're like, well, what's going on? Like, do it qualify as a claim? And they did, and we got back. So we got our first check from them. So how you do that, you typically don't have to appropriate it. We checked with the State Board of Accounts to make sure we didn't have to have an additional appropriation with the insurance. But if you remember, Orlando, in 2014, we had the flood here, and it was much more costly damage. It was about $80,000 to $90,000 worth of office damage. We had a pipe burst in January when it was real cold in 2014, and it caused chaos. But got that all fixed, so just a little bit of time, but we got it where it's secure. We want to make sure nobody went down there and got hurt, because there was for a long time before that tree was flipped back over. There wasn't live wires, but there was some type of cable, and I'm not testing that out. So we put out there and we tried to make it so that people couldn't get down in there, but we tried to get to it as fast as we can. So we got there was other parts of the park that knocked down trees, topped a couple of them off the top. So we gathered all that up. The city of Kokomo, we reached out to them. They're really thankful to them. They picked up all the loose branches. They picked up a big pine tree, which I didn't really think they would get that. I thought we were going to have to cut that up. But they helped us clean up, part of the debris that was piled up. So we sent him a thank you and told the mayor, thank you for helping us out with that. So, that's really it with the park. I just want to update you guys because since the last time we did have that damage, I know I emailed you, but it's all cleared up as far as the debris. Next stage will be just getting the park equipment replaced, but the insurance will reimburse all the costs for that.
All costs.
Anthony said there's a thing with the depreciation through the insurance. They said what they do is once we have proof that it's done, then they'll reimburse us for the, I don't know what the dollar amount, $5,000 of the total. What is it? 27,000. So
yeah, we received 21,000 already, and once it's complete, we'll get another 5,000. So $1,000 for new park
Wow,
equipment.
21,000.
Nobody got anything to take care of.
Yeah,
Good.
and you got a good work out there.
I think you heard yourself.
I did.
You did?
My back.
Oh, yeah.
He was trying to pull some of the branches were pretty big, but it's like, okay, like maybe use the tractor or the gator and pull some of them instead of manually pulling them. But we were out there. I was using the gator. He was using his muscles, I guess. One thing I want to talk about, I called each of you individually last night, talked about the transition of me stepping down. It's not an easy decision for me. But I felt like it was the right move for my family. Biggest thing for me is making sure that everything goes smoothly through the next, my last day would be technically July 26th, which is a Sunday. That way, Monday morning, Darla will resume duties of the acting trustee until they caucus somebody in. So that is just through the law. We checked with Jeff Bellamy, our attorney, to make sure, because we used to have when Reverend Lee was trustee, we thought maybe the designee would be the acting trustee, but that person's really only supposed to act if you're incapacitated or if you're absent, not necessarily when you resign. So Darla is going to resume the duties until the caucus. I don't know how long that will take, but hopefully it's not too long because Darla probably not want to be the trustee. But she knows what needs to be done. I have 100% confidence that nothing's, as far as service to anybody's going to drop off. Something like that, it's not easy to walk away from 14 years, especially being an employee, for 11 of those where it's like, this is my home. This is where I came out of college and didn't know where I was heading and didn't know much about townships. And I started working here from the front desk to the back office. And I just, it's something that I think was the right time. I know the township will go on. It's bigger than me. And I have faith in it that, people in this community can step up and serve this community, and the staff here is dedicated to making sure people are taken care of and showing up and doing the work. So I did want to come to this meeting, talk about, so I kind of put in here a little bit of the transition, just so you guys knew the dates. But through all this, I really didn't have planned to have that much for this meeting, but the budget preparation, obviously this is usually about the time we're not really done with the budget by any means, but there is a budget workshop with the DLGF. We've always went to that every year with the area rep. It's virtual now versus it used to be at the library. She would meet all local government unions, and you basically put your public hearing dates, your Form 1, which is all your appropriations for the budget, lays that out so that you can see what you need as far as for a property tax levy, what you're going to get in lit. And we'll do that on July 21st. My goal is to make sure that it's prepared. It's always up to the board to adopt the budget and make the changes for the budget. I'm going to make sure it's prepared, make sure Anthony knows what he needs to know. He knows a lot, so he's probably worried that I'm not going to be there with him. But there's not many major changes. If anything, our budget would go down. The biggest thing is that assistance is off the chains again. That's something, the last few years we've had to do additional appropriations. I don't like the budget high for assistance because it's a variable. You don't know how many people are going to walk in the door that year. You don't know how many are going to get denied or approved. And sometimes the need is more, sometimes the need is less. So that will be in there, but it'll be at the public hearing where you guys can debate what you guys think is best for the budget for the ensuing year. So I'm not going to go in on way out and change everything. That's not my intent. It will look similar to 2026. We won't have the CIP projects because we pretty much wrapped that up this year. So that out of the rainy day will be gone. Another thing, the community service contracts, that's gonna be up to you guys. I'm not gonna come, I won't have no recommendation, It's gonna be your guys' place. Hopefully by that point, they would have somebody caucus in to be the trustee. Not that they're gonna try to come in here and change a bunch of things instantly. I don't think that would be right, but at least to have a person to work with Anthony and kind of go over the budget and whatever questions you guys may have, so. If there's anything that you guys need from me, either the board or Anthony, you guys obviously can get a hold of me and say, hey, like, what about this? What about that? I still know what's going on. It's not like I'm going to turn off township government the day I leave this office, but I want to make sure that everybody has the help they need, and I'd be more than glad to help anybody. So we talked about the leadership transition. Obviously, the last day since the trustee, my job isn't technically Monday through Friday. It's Monday. It's 24/7. I put it at Sunday. That way, if Darla, we're going to check to make sure she has to swear in technically, even though she's temporary. She's not caucused in, so it's just a gap filler. Give her Monday, so if she needs to go to the clerk's office or something and just do the oath of office, she can have time to do that and not be a gap a weekend without an elected official. So that will be the date for there. Once they caucus in, Darla will no longer be the acting trustee. One thing Jeff did mention is to me to be the designee. She needs to make a designee in case she gets incapacitated. I could technically do it. I don't know. It doesn't give you any authority other than to check sign in the absence of the trustee. We're going to make sure, as far as operational, Darla has always been a check signer because she is my designee. So if I'm out, she can sign checks. It doesn't have to be somebody like Reverend Lee's was Ed Foster. Jean's was Jim Brandon or something, or not Jim Brandon. It was Dave Breeden. So we'll make sure we have that all laid out. Anything as far as internal controls that need to be updated it never really lists people's names as far as like Drew does this. It says the trustee, comptroller, chief deputy, paid program supervisor, and we'll make sure that those are updated accordingly. And then, like I said, the last part was just the transition support. Obviously, my time as the township trustee will end at the end of July 26th. But I'm more than willing to always help you guys. That's you. That's whoever may be the trustee. I want the township to succeed. Just because I'm stepping away, I had to make a hard decision for my family. The decision for my family wasn't hard, but the decision was based on my family and being in that realm, and I wanted to make a decision that I could be comfortable with for 20 years. So whatever you guys need from me, I talked to Commissioner Dodd today, and I said, if there's anything you ever need from me, you can always call me. If there's in the budget process, if you want me to sit there on that side, I'll sit there on that side. But I just want you guys to know that my intent since always being here is always to be to help the township in whatever capacity. When I was working the front desk, I didn't think my role was very important, but I tried to do my best at that role. When I was comptroller, I tried to make sure we had everything financially compliant and make sure we had all the information to people when they needed them. So I still have that passion. I may not be available during the day, but I will get back to you. Anthony, I will reach out, he knows that he can ask me a question, and I'd be more than glad to help you. The next trustee, they can ask me any questions, anything they need from me, obviously time considered. If I'm working a job, I can't just leave, come to them, but I want to see people succeed. I want to see the township succeed. It is a very good place. It was very good to me, and that's my goal, is to be whatever capacity going forward to help whoever it is out. So.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
It's been a lot. It was hard to make the decision. It's harder to tell people the decision because you feel like this is what you're supposed to be doing, but then you look at things at your family and you're like, this is an opportunity too, and your kids and spending time with them. And I have a son that's high functioning autism, and it's like that's not easy. Like it just adds a lot to your life, and it's like, okay, I got to find something. Like if I'm not in politics, I'd rather, I love public service. I think there's, I was talking to Tom last night, like public service isn't just the elected officials. It's all the people that make up all of our local government and state government. And I always enjoyed that. And when I was in college, I had no clue I would have been in this realm, that I thought I was going to be a financial advisor or something else that other than this, and you know, looking back, I'm happy with my time here, and I appreciate all the people along the way from the different stages, and just wanted to know, like, hey, I'll be here, you know, if you need me. If you don't, that's okay. That's all right. But that's all I have on the transition. I'll still be talking. If you guys have questions in the coming weeks, just let me know. Yeah, that's it for the transition part.
Reading, sorry.
Oh, you're good.
New business.
I don't think we really have new business. I think we just put it as a bullet point there. I do have some things to talk about on old business, and they're probably towards the back of the packet. I was 3 weeks ago, and I talked to you guys at the last board meeting about that PSH grant. I asked Pam Isaac to kind of walk me through, because she used to serve on the IHCDA's board. She works for the commissioners now, and I was like, I don't understand it. Can you like explain to me what it is? Because they were really pushing for the township to take it over. And, you know, Pam got on a Zoom call with me on after hours with the lady from IHCDA, and kind of is like, you know, it is something that's good for Howard County. Now, it doesn't necessarily mean Center Township has to take it, but if nobody takes it, then the dollars will leave our county. So, you know, I didn't know all this change was going to happen from that conversation to this. And I talked to Pam today, and I said, look, like, I'm not pushing in anything in this, but I just want to bring it to your attention that going forward, it may be beneficial for the township to take this, because those clients that are on this PHH, we identified them as Center Township residents, and that if they lose this grant, are they going to be coming into the office? We don't know. It's not guaranteed, but it is a possibility that these people that are getting supportive housing will need township assistance for rent and utilities. What that PSH grant, you know, and Pam kind of explained to me is that, you know, you have a 25% match. So they give you a $150,000 grant, but you have to come up with 25%. And I put some of the details in here. We're not making a decision or anything, but just something to mull on, for the future. Federal grants are a little different. You know, when before I started working here, they used to do a rapid rehousing grant, but it wasn't a match. The federal government dumped $500,000 to get people off the streets into homes. This one's a little different because it does have to have match of 25%, but the match doesn't necessarily have to be truly cash. So like, let's say, because Connie talked with the IHCDA with me, if Connie was doing partial case management for these people, that could be considered part of the match into it. So say an hourly rate, and she gives them 2 to 3 hours a week, they would calculate that into the match part of the grant. Or if we partnered with a mental health agency, we used to have Community Howard, but they're closing some of their resources, our community behavioral, you could count that towards the match. So they were saying I was just thinking it has to be 25% match money. And they were explaining it's a little different than that. So I still don't have a full grasp. I have a better view. I think Pam is a very good resource. She was going to come to kind of talk from her perspective, just because I know her familiar with IHCDA. She didn't want it to leave Howard County. It doesn't mean it's the township's responsibility to carry that grant, but there could be some more requests for assistance because these people need this permanent supportive housing, and trying to get them on the housing authority list isn't always the easiest thing, because they usually have a year and a half waiting list to get into public housing. So something just to think for the future. If it's something that, the board or the trustee wants to pursue, there's plenty of people, especially, and I like that Pam is local, that she could kind of tie in the IHCDA stuff, and kind of explain what's going on. But they really didn't say like, you need to take it, but we were kind of confused of like, do I need to do something or like what? So I don't know what they want from Center Township. I think they seen us as a servicing agent because we deal with so much volume in housing assistance anyway. So they thought, well, maybe it'd be easy since you guys see some of these clients for other things.
So is this different housing assistance than what we currently do.
Yeah, so
And
then,
what happens if we don't take it to their assistance?
from what they say, that those dollars would leave Howard County, because they're based off of county, there's an area that they give so many grants to, and then there's sub-recipients of those grants, and then if we didn't take it, or if nobody in Howard County took it, then those dollars would go to another community that would consider the
So
need.
what happens to the people that are in those places?
They would lose those grants and possibly face eviction, that's why I say it could turn
So they
into,
would
come to us for help, and that's where it's like, well, we could be facing the issue. The good thing about the PSH grant, if the township took it on, is that they would get those federal reimbursements, so you would get that money back from federal dollars instead of local taxpayer dollars.
And when is this 38,000 in whatever form, when is that due?
That's where I told her that, like, I don't know where the board is with it, so like, you need to tell me if there's like, I have no details of that, because their grant ended on June 30th, and I was like, is there something that we need to do? Because I won't meet with our board till July 9th. So it's and Connie can, reach it. She's talked to, or just because we've had some of those PSH clients come in to meet with us, not because we were taking it, because they needed help, because Cam was the former host of that grant, and something was going wrong with the grant.
And why is Pam not here?
Yeah, I think she should approach us and talk to us.
She said she wasn't coming because she didn't get an invite, but I didn't know where, I didn't
Oh,
want to
I
push.
thought she was coming.
Yeah, me too.
Okay, well, she texted me today and said that, she's like, well, I don't think I'm gonna come. I said, well, I told her that I was leaving. I said, I don't think it should be me pushing it, because I won't be here to carry it through. So I said, I don't feel like that's right from my position to say, go do PSH, like, we need to do this. I do think it's a good thing for the township. So I told Pam it was all right.
Can I ask you for whatever input you'd like to give?
Okay, so I don't know if everyone knows who I am. I'm Connie Longshore. I've been with the township for 37 years now. And this grant would be very good and beneficial for our township, this county. Some of the recipients of this grant, they have faced homelessness before. They've been on the streets. That's how they got on this grant. And if they don't have it, chances are they're going to be back on the streets again, and then we're going to be dealing with more homeless issues than we already have. Right now, the grant is around $154,000. That money will leave us. And if those clients would start coming into our office, that's more rental assistance that we're going to have to absorb.
We don't currently have that 100.
No,
No, we do
No.
not.
So this wouldn't come to us.
Correct.
I think more or less it would leave the county, not us
Right.
right now.
Okay,
Nice,
so
at least
how
95%.
do these people even understand there was that grant? I mean, I would have thought they would have walked into this office for assistance.
A lot of these people, a lot of these people that are under this grant have either some emotional or developmental delay, some kind of mental health issue.
Okay.
And it was their understanding when it started happening that their grant was being taken care of. And because of some internal issues and things with Cam, that message was not relayed to them.
So Cam is the one that initially got this grant through.
Correct. It used to be with Howard Behavioral Health.
Okay.
They got out of that business. United Way and the people on the continuing care board did not want to see it leave Howard County. And at that time, I think it was only like $89,000. So they set it up for Cam to take over.
What happened to Cam?
To be honest, I don't know exactly.
Wasn't that basically Rick Newton?
Pardon me?
Was that basically Rick Newton?
No. No, the director right now is an interim director, and that's Ruth Lawson. Prior to that, it was Jerome Williams,
Okay.
and then prior to that, it was Deneen, and then before that, it was Ruth Lawson.
Okay. So we don't really know why Cam is defunct at this point.
No.
So what do you think?
There was just a lot of internal grief and maybe under oversight it should have been. But I would really like you to consider, I mean, I know we're going through a lot, we're gonna miss Drew, and there's gonna be a transition. Right now, they're looking at like 8 to 10 families that we would be assisting. That's not, well, this grant would require me to do a little bit more. It's nothing more than I'm already doing. It's just gonna be in a different format. And it would still save the town, it would save the township $150,000 a year, potentially, if we got that money.
Minus
Because we wouldn't have
38.
Pardon me?
Minus 38,000.
Well, unless that, we get that matching grant.
Right. Is there anyone else that would like to say anything about this? Okay,
I have a question.
yes.
You said Cam has, been the agent for this.
They were a subrecipient, so ICDA subrecipient is the grantee of the total grant, and then they have subrecipients, which Cam was one of them. It was posted and on June 30th, right, Connie? That was,
Correct.
Yeah.
So that's, it ended the same fiscal year.
So the Area 5 made up the grant?
No.
Okay.
IHCD, the federal government gave all the funds, which is millions and millions of dollars, to IHCDA, the state. Then the state would divide it up and send it out into the communities and as a subrecipient. Howard County happened to get this portion of the PSH grant, which was $153,000.
Okay. So the
And that was
original
all-
grant was a lot more money. Is that
From the federal government,
Yeah.
yes. There are several different other grants from IHCDA in Howard County, such as Jackson Street Commons. I believe there's another one ran through FSA.
Dale has the rapid.
Dale has
Vantage
rapid
housing.
housing that we brought in, we helped bring in with Drew, to catch up these people's back rent so that the township did not have to, expend that fund since this was a whole issue.
Okay, did you have another question?
I did, thank you. Are these units, are they scattered or are they all?
They're scattered site, so they're all scattered site units. So some of them, I believe, are at the Pillars, which used to belong to Community Hospital. Some of them are private landlords. So I know
They're all Center Township.
they're all, the ones that we looked at originally are Center Township. You have the capacity to do bigger than Center Township, but you don't have, like, I always say, hey, it's gotta be in Center Township. Like, if we're gonna use the resources of either staff or funds, it had to be in Center Township. So it makes more sense for a nonprofit to do it because they don't have that, they're not using taxpayer dollars from just this one township.
Are
And
there any nonprofits that have
And that's-
talked about maybe taking it?
And that's what we asked ICDA, and they were like, there's none. And I was like, okay. Well, it is in our response. I mean, this isn't in our statutory guidelines, but like Connie said, it is, these 8 people that live there, could they potentially, that doesn't guarantee that they're gonna come for assistance, but if they're, their rent's continuously paid on this program, they're most likely, I don't think they're employed, but they're gonna need this, so they're gonna come here. So when there was some issues with CAM and their servicing, that's when we started seeing it, and we were like, well, what is this grant? Because we weren't really familiar with it, and then we were like, okay, and then I reached out to Lafayette because I wanted to see how it worked with the municipality, because I asked IHCDA, I was like, are there any other municipalities or local governments that do this? And I talked about it last time being in the police department, which I was, and I talked to the 2 people over there, and I was like, you guys, what is this? I couldn't mesh it up with the police department. Not that they don't do outreach or anything. I was just like, I don't know. It's a little different than our office where our clientele, we have people coming in here that may come in here naturally versus them having the grant in Lafayette. So
If they have mental health issues, how is that playing into?
you
I
go
mean,
ahead,
are
Connie.
they getting help for that?
Yes, they're getting connected with services and stuff. I did mention that they have mental health issues, but that is no more than a lot of our other grants that already come in, so we already deal with that population.
They often have wraparound services. There's mental health, and that's where Lafayette says they have a partner that they said there's not a lot of financial matching in that grant. It's more of, can you find these resource partners, and X amount of dollars from this mental health agency counts towards that 25% the case management counts towards that 20. And that's where it was like, oh, it's not as bad as you asking for $35,000 of money to go get the match for this grant. So there is a way to make it creative where you can use part of services rendered or services received for these clients, that it can take that 25% or that 38,000 down to even less. They just use that as that's how much has to be contributed.
I think I'd like, do you feel that Pam Isaac has a lot more?
She does.
I think I'd like to table it.
Yeah.
And
And there wasn't, yeah, I didn't want emotion. I just wanted to bring it up, and then I told Pam, I said,
then I'd
let
like
me,
to hear from her.
okay.
So consider, I guess this is an invitation to her.
Yeah.
Do we need to send her an invitation, or can you just?
Darlene, we could send
Can
it,
you just extend it from us?
yeah.
For the next meeting, and I think it would be great if you could also be here when she comes.
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
long
we'll
as
get
it's
that,
not-
yeah.
As long as it's not set within the next 2 weeks, I'll be here.
I
Now,
doubt,
this is
We're
not
not gonna
gonna
have enough.
overwhelm your staff. We've got a great staff here at Township. I've been in, and I've seen everybody working. It's not gonna overwhelm, like, it says 17 people. We're not gonna come all in the door at one time, right?
No, they are not. If we could take on this grant, right now, I believe, like I said, I believe it's 8 to 10 people. That is not impossible for me to manage. And we could keep it at the 8 to 10 people, or if we wanted to, we could grow it and ask for more money. My suggestion was, when we were talking about it, is we keep it at the 8 to 10 people until I can get my feet under me. And we can get all of the ones worked out and see how it goes.
Another thing is, let's say somebody, it's countywide. I was on the website and I kind of looked at some of the stuff.
Yeah.
Let's say we talk to Pam and we like what she has to say, and we decide to or not decide to, but what happens if we get somebody who lives in, say, Taylor Township, and they're expecting us to spend Center Township dollars to match?
Right.
And that's where
That's what I'm worried
where you
about.
might be limited in the program. That's where I kind of told him when I first talked to him, I was like, what about the people outside of our township? Like, I really don't like that idea.
Yeah.
Rent from somewhere else.
And that's
Township.
kind of like the same thing with our payee program. We don't want to pay for payees outside of Center Township.
well, we don't know yet what's gonna happen with townships.
Right.
It's still,
Yeah,
I think we'll stay as is. and
Yeah.
Others will be the ones that will be maybe.
They will, and that's been going on for 35
yes.
36 years. They've been telling us that they're.
well, I mean, there is the
There
merger
is
plan.
change coming, but
Yeah.
I'm just saying that, this isn't something that it has been out there for decades, that they're ready to do this with the current reform and everything. So I would hate to see us pause on everything, thinking that that's gonna happen, and then that not happen for another 5, 10 years. Our family would be.
I think it's gonna happen in the next 2 years, but I don't really think it's gonna affect us, because I think we're
Maybe
gonna
not.
stay.
Yeah.
I was just trying to throw out a positive light that, they've been saying this for decades, that this is gonna happen.
Exactly, they have.
It's changed a little bit.
There's a lot of change going on.
There's more emphasis on campus.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
I agree.
There's a cap.
Okay, so
Just
I make a motion that we table it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I'll get you
Dan.
connected to the information.
Aye. Or, aye.
I'll reach out to Pam. And that's the thing, I don't know enough about IHCDA, and I was never gonna, I was still trying, that's why I said, I contacted Pam, because I knew she used to serve on the board, and I was like, I need somebody local that I could at least call or go down the street and ask her questions, rather than the state where they're like, they didn't even really say it's ours to have. They had to approve it. And I was like, well, what would I have to do? Do I need to get board approval? Because what I look back at it was Gene's, I tried to find back in 2009 when they did their grant, but it was directly from the federal government, but they had a board resolution allowing them to do this. There wasn't money involved as far as paying out. It was all coming in. So it was different. So I was like, are you needing us to say yes? I can't say yes by myself. So what? Well, she's like, well, it's not guaranteed that we would have to award it to you. And I'm like, is there an application, or is there something you need? So I want to get as much information. I think Pam is a great resource. I just told her not to come because I can't push that from my position. I won't be here to carry it through. I don't think that's right for me to do. And I do think it is a good opportunity for the township, but it's also a complex opportunity. it's not an easy one to understand. Clearly, me and Connie have tried to talk with them several times and, you know, reach out to other people to say, like, you know, what is the experience? Like, what is this? Like, you know, the same questions you had, like,
Yeah.
what about we don't service the whole county?
It might be interesting from your perspective to talk to people in your role in other counties who have participated in this program and what problems or issues they have with the federal grant. Yeah.
I did speak on, when Drew was on a conference call to Lafayette, to the police department that ran this program and stuff. And it made me feel a lot better talking to them, seeing what they did. And things
As far as the
like
time
that.
commitment.
Yeah, the time commitment and understanding the matching part of it, that it didn't have to be funds, direct funds and stuff.
Why would a police department do?
I can't answer that.
I don't know. That guy said he'd done it for 12 years, and I was just like, or are you a police officer? So maybe they're like a community. I know some
Wow.
cities have like community resource officers type of things, and maybe that's where the fit is. But, you know, like Connie said, when we talked to them, they're like, well, we're more just administrators. So we're not like, we don't have to go out and do interventions with them as far as like mental health, like they find other partners to do that. And I was like, well, then it's more or less, we're just doing the processing, the case management from a small level. They made it seem, and they have probably 25 people on their program. So it may be worth Connie reaching out to them again and kind of getting a little deeper now that we've had a conversation, getting Pam in so we can ask questions that you guys would have that she can answer that. I've never dealt with an IHCDA grant from the 14 years.
Seems weird that a police department would be, unless you're looking at it from the aspect of the mental health and the issues they've been called out on. You would think it would be more maybe VA
HUD.
or HUD, yeah, VA.
And that was our initial thought too, is like, why didn't the housing authority take it? But
Yeah.
maybe there's some conflict since they're already getting federal money that they can't take sub-recipient from the state level. I don't know. I asked the lady at IHCDA, that her name is Megan, and I was like, could the housing authority take it? Like, that would seem like an easier fit, but I don't know if there's some issue, or maybe, maybe they have to ask them. I don't know.
What are Commissioner Dodd's reasons for not wanting to be involved?
With the PSH?
Yeah.
For the
I don't know.
county to be involved.
I don't know if they've ever been asked for it, honestly. So I think we just came in the conversation through the CAM clients coming in here, and we started to probe more. We really wanted to know what it was about so we could understand why these people were requesting assistance from us when they were.
Because if the
Plus
county
business grant.
takes it,
It's a whole different ballgame.
right, but.
I mean, they could.
Yeah, but somebody that is in Taylor Township, then the county can help,
Yeah.
not just Center Township.
But the grant itself, and you may know this, a grant itself, does it have a time span or is it
It's
renewable?
It's renewable and it's awarded yearly.
Okay.
So typically they'll just renew the contract.
If we would take it for this year, and I would say, oh no, this is way too much, this isn't working, we would not have to renew it.
So you don't have to write or rewrite, you just have to resubmit.
We would have to reapply, yes, and be awarded. And it was my understanding with talking from Megan at IHCDA, they have to approve, would have to approve us, that there's all, I think that was just formality talking. I can't guarantee that. One of the other things was, we were talking about the 38,000 and the funding. It makes much more sense in my mind for a governmental agency or as a business to have this grant than for a nonprofit, because you have a steady funding source. And you don't have to worry about paying somebody to get this stuff done because it's already being paid for.
Do you have any knowledge who originally wrote the grant?
It was from Howard Behavioral, and unfortunately, I do not.
Pam would know.
They moved to Ford.
They transferred a lot of their client services over to Fort County. And, other part of the old business that I talked about last time was the payee program, and they dropped their payees at Howard Behavioral as well. Another good opportunity that I talked with Commissioner Dodd today. He would like to see, because he's worried about the payees leaving Community Howard and not, because we kind of told the community that we couldn't take them. And I told him that, and he's like, well, what if the county paid for a staff member or two to help with that pay program? Now, it's possible through an interlocal for have a county pay for employee, but work together with the township to service these clients.
Maybe part of this 38,000.
Different thing, representative payees.
This is the pay.
Because when I talked to Jack, I was like, are you talking about the PSH or are you talking about payees? He's like, the payees. He's like, I don't want to see these people from Howard Behavioral that are dropping off not have a place to go, because I was like, we're kind of at capacity.
And it would be a county employee then,
I-
right?
You could work it, but it would be weird. You just would have to say in interlocal that we would furnish the office supplies, the space. They would furnish the employee in the salary and the benefits. It's not impossible. It just would take an attorney to draft up some type of interlocal agreement to say this is a joint project between Howard County and Center Township. But I thought that, I was like, well, I'm leaving Jack, like, cause I'd sent him an email and I was like, that would help. I mean, we can't take him on as is, but if you're willing to get in the game and offer that, now he has to see if it's possible. So that's a huge thing. But, you know, I was like, well, I didn't think of that. No, I just didn't think we had the capacity. And it costs, you know. So. And then the other thing was just the update on Cam. Ruth had been giving me some stuff, and you'd asked about Cam, you know, what's going on with them. Ruth had sent me some emails or dropped them. She didn't send them to me. She dropped them off in person. And then I also attached the letters that I had sent to him when they didn't have an executive director that, hey, we're going to suspend these. Ruth has been very proactive to have community. She thought she lost the grant. I had clearly told the board of directors that it's paused until we can find leadership that can show that you're going in the right path. I said, ultimately, hey, these partnerships between Center Township and CAM is for the drop-in shelter and Howard County Connect. It's not to be used for PSH. It wasn't, but I wanted them to notice it clearly that it wasn't. It's not to be used to service pay program clients. It's to use to those specific programs. And once I talked with Ruth, I said, hey, we have to be open lines of communication. I get it, Center Township and CAM, you know, if you talk to Ruth, she'll tell you the story. It started at the side of the building. But, you know, just to say, hey, like, we have to see that things are going the right path, because, you know, this money I'm accountable for, the board is accountable for. We have to make sure our taxpayer dollars are being spent correctly for the things that we intend them for. And, you know, Ruth has been, you know, she was with CAM long enough to know. I remember the days when I was working for Gene and Reverend Lee that she'd call every time to see when her check was ready. And I'd be like, Ruth, it's not even the first of the month. Like, hold on. But I think she's trying to do what she can to try to put the pieces back together. You asked the question of like what's happened with CAM. I think just leadership changes have caused some strife in that building. Ruth, you know, I know she doesn't want to work anymore. She retired once, but I know that was it was her, you know, she started it. So I know she wants to see it right again. So I don't know if she'll become the acting director, but she's there for the meantime. So I told her, I said, as long as we can keep talking with you, you guys are still open to clients, because that's the key thing. You can't be closed. Can't, you know, with Project Access a few years ago, they stopped seeing people. It's like, we can't give you money to put in a bank
How
account.
much do we still have to give to them?
I think there's 10, like $5,000 to $7,000, not very much. Still enough that it makes an impact that I still want the same accountability for it. And, you know, hey, if you're going to have a leader and your board is all chaos, because we met with their board, because that's where the pay conversation started. And we told them, okay, like, these people are going to be, you sent their money back. Like, they're going to be without income until the next payee takes over, or rep payee. And, you know, Ruth wasn't helping at that point. And then she came on board, and I said, okay, hey, we can help people out. But the first thing is we have to be able to communicate with your office. If we have questions about, you know, what's the status of their income? Do they have income? Are they on this grant? So that we aren't paying something that somebody else should be paying. And Ruth has made strides in that. I know it's not been easier for over there. So, yeah. So that's all I have for old business. The next meeting will be the budget public hearing. You know, when you have that, you'll have the Form 1. If nothing's set, that's a place for us to discuss as a township what changes you need to see. I told Anthony, I said, get it to him we'll have that meeting on the 21st, so we'll have that appropriation sheet for you guys to look through, call Anthony, ask questions, whatever changes you want to see. and then you'll have your adoption meeting on September 9th. Right, September
When you
9th.
said August 21st, it's 20th.
August 20th, sorry, August 20th.
Just double check it.
Yeah, August 20th.
And that's the meeting we're inviting Pam to, is the.
You can, like, just because it's a public hearing, I mean, you probably discussed the budget, but if you want to move on to other,
I mean, she
things on
could
the
take
agenda.
like first 10, 15
At the beginning and
minutes,
get
yeah,
out of the
and
way,
then
yeah.
she can leave if she wants, and then we can.
I think you have to do the public hearing first. You don't have to go into budget discussion right away. You could just open the meeting at 4:30, because whatever time you advertise, you have to open the public hearing at that exact time,
And we're
but
talking about
August 20th, yeah.
When Pam will come.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anybody have anything else for us? Yeah, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn. Well, I'm back up. Go ahead and make a motion to adjourn.
We're new at this,
I
right?
make a motion that we adjourn.
I
All
second
those in
it.
favor?
Aye.
Aye, those opposed? Motion carried. Meeting is adjourned.